Hi there, everybody. So, this is our reading for Monday. It's our analyze, and as you can see, it's our acquire refine. And our steps here, first of all, is read the text without interruption. Simply enjoy it. Okay. Now, I am going to read along. I am going to read this text. But if you think, you know, I'm going to read this on my own, that's fine. You can skip this bit. But if you want to read along, because you might think, oh, actually, I don't know how that's said, or maybe you just love my lovely storytelling voice, then feel free to carry on. So, this is. Oh, I've not put the title of this book. It's called. The book is called The Shadow Keeper. And this is the prologue. Now, the prologue is the kind of preview to the story, the first thing before the first chapter. Um, so, the Crooked Cave. The sea air breathes quietly tonight. A sprawled darkness rolled in and out. It slips over beaches and laps at the harbour walls. But further on the coast, where the cliffs turn ragged and shards of rock jut into the water, strewn like broken gravestones, the current is stronger. It moves with a strength all of its own here, heaving and churning, smashing and pounding. This is a place few men or women brave, and none on a night as dark as this. If you've lost where you are, we're here. And yet there is a light moving between the shards of rock, a lantern fixed to the front of a rowing boat, and though the waves swell and suck and crash, the boat weaves a way through. The moon slides out from the clouds for a moment, scattering silver on the sea, and then gone. But the lantern still shines, splaying light on the snakeskin mask of the figure in the boat. He wears a cloak, the hood pulled high, and only his tongue moves, forked and flickering. His arms stay folded in his lap. He has no use for oars to propel the boat forward. It moves of its own accord, drawn by magic towards the opening in the cliff face. We're up to this bit now here. Carving a channel through the last of the rocks, the boat disappeared inside. The passageway of water within is still, and a snake of black beneath arched walls of rock. The boat glides on, winding into shadows, then it nudges to a halt as it meets a metal grate stretched to the height of the whole passageway. The figure drops his hood, his tongue quivers over his lips, and he speaks. "It is Ashtongue who enters the Crooked Cave. I have come to you, Darkbite, as you commanded." A hiss escapes from Ashtongue's lips, scratching at the silence. Then there's a grinding noise, like a chain being pulled, and the grate lifts. The boat noses through into a wider cavern, and Ashtongue steps out onto a beach littered with bones. He looks at the glass bottles and metal cages arranged on ledges of rock surrounding the beach. They glint under the light of his lantern, and each one is filled with animal parts. Moth wings, fox teeth, owl talons, bat claws. Ashtongue smiles and turns to the cauldron standing in the middle of the beach. A burst of green erupts from inside it, and a cloaked figure emerges from the shadows, plucking the wings from a dead moth as it crunches over the bones. We're here. Ashtongue dips his mask. "Greetings, Darkbite." Darkbite's cloak slips to the ground, and, where shoulders should be, two enormous black wings flex, rising up like crooked sails. "Skull and Hemlock failed." The voice bristled with anger. "The child and the beast still live." Ashtongue stiffens. "The girl and her wildcat defeated 2 shadow masks?" Start up here. Darkbite's mask of charcoaled wood is absolutely still, the jet black hair wild around it. "With the help of their friends." Ashtongue shakes his head. But Skull had the girl locked in a cage in the forest. He had hounds trained to track her, and Hemlock conjured poison to make sure she wouldn't survive." "It wasn't enough." Darkbite's wings twitched. "The children found the first amulet, and used its power to destroy both Skull and Hemlock. I saw it happen, and was forced to flee. We must kill the girl and her wild cat before they find the second amulet. Only then can we shatter the old magic and conjure an evil to take its place." Darkbite walked towards the cauldron, veined wings trailing through the bones. Ashtong follows, and the two shadow masks stand in silence for several minutes, watching the green liquid bubbling inside the cauldron. "You must call upon the spirits of the underworld," Darkbite says. "Use them to wreak havoc on the old magic." Picking up a glass bottle, the witch doctor tips an owl talon into the cauldron. The liquid hisses, and green smoke fizzes to upwards. "I'll conjure the night creatures. Molly Pecksniff and her wild cat won't escape." There's a pause. "No one escapes the Shadowkeeper's curse." Ashtong nods. His snakeskin mask glimmers. Then he watches as Darkbite strips the barbs from an owl feather and lets them flutter into the cauldron. The liquid swirls, sucking the broken feather into its clutches. Then a talon bursts through the surface, snatching at the air before slipping silently down. The Shadowkeeper smiles, because inside the cauldron something hideous is stirring. It's a good text. I really like this text. So, what you need to do is analyse it. So now we've done step 1, now we've read through it. We need to definitely do step 2. Now obviously we can't do step 4, where I give you more questions, but we can definitely clarify the text, make notes of things that we want to, that catch our eye, that you might not be sure of. You did this fantastically last week, so I'm going to have a go at this now, and you can do the same. Some of you are writing like I am on the document. Some people just wrote down questions. Some people wrote down, like, put it in a table and was like, words, things I like, things I don't understand, and just kind of put them into 3 columns. I quite like that. So, the sea breathes quietly tonight. Well, I love that. The sea breathes quietly tonight. That is personification. Oops, is personification. The sea doesn't breathe. People breathe, animals breathe, living things breathe. But it makes it sound alive, doesn't it? And sprawled darkness rolled in and out. It slips over beaches and laps over harbour walls. You might not know what laps means. It means to like the water laps. It comes backwards and forwards and just slips over things. But further on the coast, the cliffs turn ragged and shards of rock jut into the water. Now that's again the movement of the water. They stick out and they go back again. I really like this simile. So there's rocks, and they keep appearing in the water, strewn like broken gravestones. I really like that, because gravestones we know are, that's death, isn't it? That's danger. So if there's something in the water that's strewn, which means kind of scattered, like broken gravestones, that doesn't give me a happy picture. That's fear. That's a warning to the reader that this is not a good place. It moves with strength all of its own, heaving and churning and smashing and pounding. Now, here, I like this as well. You might be thinking, but Mr. Cooper, it's a power of 3. That's 4. But that gives you the impression that there's so much happening. Heaving and churning, smashing and pounding. It's never ending. So the list sounds never ending. A place few men or women brave. So, I know, bad place. That very first paragraph really tells me not a good place to be. Yet in the light between the shards of rock, a lantern fixed the front of a rowing boat. So I've got an image of like your normal boat on the water with kind of a lantern hanging down like that. A bit like if you've seen Harry Potter in the first one, they sail across the lake when they arrive at Hogwarts for the first time. The moon slides out. I do like that. The moon slides out from the clouds. I do like that. Scattering silver on the sea. And then it is gone. I like that whole sentence. Sorry if it's not quite straight. I just like that whole sentence. I like it scattering silver on the sea. And again, we've got that sound, like in Phoenix, the soft, silvery sound. It's a bit onomatopoeic. It makes it sound soft. Scattering silver on the sea. Calms it down. I'm just skim reading now. Forward in his lap. No use to propel. Now you might not know what propel means, but propeller on a plane makes it go. I remember from last year, people didn't quite understand what this bit was. It moves of its own accord. Moves of its own accord means moves on its own. Drawn by magic. Let's have a look up here. The boat glides on, winding through the shadows, winding into the shadows. I like that because you could have just said darkness, but shadows is a bit more, I don't know, a little bit more mysterious, isn't it? You don't know what's there. And a metal grate stretched the height of the passageway. So I'm imagining, I'm going to draw this. I'm imagining like a big gate in like a cave, and there's water, and it goes to it. Um, enters the crooked cave. Yeah, there's a grinding noise. The boat noses through. Um, hmm. I've seen the songs from the cauldron. So I think we'll understand most of this. I'm just looking. Kind of down here now. Greetings. Oh, now I have a question now. So who are they? So we've got Ashtongue and Darkbite. Skull and Hemlock failed. The child still lives. So we've got. I think it might be better at the end here to have a few questions from the speech. I think the speech. So, is someone in charge? This whole. I don't know that this entire kind of conversation. Sounds like an evil group, and they're trying to destroy the girl for some reason. Um, it might be. You might not know what the word conjure means, but I'm looking at the word amulet. That is like a jewel or a gem. Um, and you carry on as you are. I'm skim reading now. Barbs from an owl feather. I think the barbs are part of the actual, the material that makes up the feather. If you pick one feather, the barbs are the individual. I don't want to say hairs because that's not what they are, but it's the individual bits on a single feather. Um, and I imagine you have many other questions. For example, what on earth is in the cauldron? Why are they after? Why? What do these amulets do? Um, are these wizards or more than that? Are they human? Because we've got some wings somewhere, haven't we? It says somewhere about wings flexed. I can't even find it. So are they even human? What are they? So I imagine you can have lots of questions with this. I'm going to pause there because I realise the video is getting a bit long because I read the text to you as well. So I'll stop there. But questions, things that you like, there is some brilliant language in here. Um, ready for our reading lesson later on this week.